In a dusty village, surrounded by dry fields and silent hills, lived a 13-year-old boy named Zayn. His world was small, just a cracked house with no electricity, a mother with tired hands, and an old radio that only worked when the wind was kind. His father had died when he was very young, and his mother worked as a cleaner in a town 2 hours away. They had no extra clothes, barely enough food, and no one believed they could ever escape poverty. No one. Except Zayn. Every evening, he sat on the rooftop at sunset, watching the sky burn orange, and whispered to himself, "Someday, this sky will belong to me, not as a dream, but as my reality." At school, he was known as the boy with worn-out shoes and ink-stained fingers. Other children mocked him. "Why do you study so hard?" they would say. "You're just a cleaner's son. People like you don't become anything." Zayn never argued. He simply smiled and replied, "That's your truth, not mine." One day, the school announced a national science competition. The winner would receive a full scholarship to study in the city, something unheard of in Zayn's village. Everyone assumed it was meant for rich students from big cities. But Zayn didn't. He found an old book in the school library about solar energy and panels. At night, he studied under a broken bulb, relying on the faint light of a flickering street lamp outside. For weeks, he worked on his project. He used scraps, tin cans, wires from broken radios, and pieces of glass from shattered windows. He had no proper tools, only determination and imagination. One afternoon, his teacher saw him working and smiled faintly. "Zayn, you're clever," he said, "but this is too big for you. It's okay to try, but don't expect too much." Zayn looked up, calm and steady. "Sir, if I already believe I can't, then why should I begin at all?" The day of the competition arrived. Zayn stood on a stage in the city, small, nervous, and surrounded by students with perfect uniforms and polished projects. When it was his turn, he stepped forward. His model looked rough, but it worked. It generated real power. And when he spoke, something changed. His voice carried hope, vision, and quiet confidence. He didn't speak like a boy. He spoke like someone who had already seen his future. The judges said nothing. That evening, as the sun disappeared behind tall city buildings, Zayn sat alone outside, waiting for the bus back to his village. Doubt crept in. Maybe they didn't like it. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Just then, a woman with gray hair and a blue sari approached him. She was one of the judges. She handed him an envelope and smiled gently. "You reminded me of who I used to be," she said. With trembling hands, Zayn opened it. Winner, full scholarship, housing, books, a future. He didn't cry. He simply looked up at the sky and whispered, "I told you." Years passed. Zayn became an engineer. But he didn't forget where he came from. He returned to his village not just to visit, but to transform it. He built schools. He installed solar panels on rooftops. He trained young minds to dream beyond their circumstances. And at the entrance of the new learning center, he wrote in bold letters, "The sky is not the limit. Your thinking is." Moral of the story: your circumstances may be poor, but your thinking can be rich. A positive mind doesn't ignore reality. It creates a new one. The world changes first in your thoughts and then in your actions.